Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been recently searched in your bag when leaving a Planet Fitness looking for Stacy's squart diaper, it is partially because of this man right here. I'm here with one of my favorite online content creators, Dark Iron Gains, Arthur. Thank you so much.
What's up, big dog?
Dude, I appreciate you doing it. I really love your page. It has to be my number one favorite original content meme page.
I'm glad you think so. I worked hard on to curate the lore.
Dude, you have to, man. I mean, the fucking just the extent of it. You post like every day. It's all original content. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it's all OC, baby. It wasn't so when I started the page, it was just going to be a repost page.
Yeah,
but I ran out of like stuff to repost, and so I just was like, screw it, I'm just going to make my own stuff, and it was the most like autistic Spurg stuff ever. But I thought it was funny, so I would post it.
But you obviously have the like you clearly you're watching all these videos, like all this classic lifter shit, and you had like to even go back to the archive of what you're pulling from. Like you clearly have like a knowledge of what you're doing.
Yeah, I had spent like, a lot of time back in the day just researching bodybuilding, and I was really into bodybuilding. Like pretty much my senior year of high school, I got super into bodybuilding. It's kind of funny. I moved in with some homies, and they were all like, bodybuilders. It was like a frat house pretty much.
Yeah.
Without us going to college. And so it was just like these dudes were like bodybuilders, and like they were all about it. So we'd all get home from work and just pile into the car and go to the gym, and like it became a routine. And of course we would watch those like early YouTube motivational bodybuilding videos with like,
yeah. And you're clearly you're watching Pump and Iron and other classics.
Yeah. Too. Oh yeah, the classics for sure. Kind of a student of the craft. But then after a while, like I just kind of started to focus on real life, and I was like, I gotta focus on getting like a job and a car. And so I still worked out, but I kind of put that stuff like on the back burner, and I wasn't even online. Like I wasn't online for like, I don't know, like 6 years. Like, I mean, I had like a Facebook or whatever, but I wasn't like super active.
Just grind mode?
And then, just grind mode. And then I got to a point where I was like, like I feel like my life, like I have some bearings over my life now. And so by the time I got back into it, it was like the whole fitness industry had changed. It was like influencers and all sorts of new like stuff that really wasn't like a thing whenever I got out of it. Because when I got out of it, the closest thing you had to like a vlog, to like a gym vlog, was like the Delray Misfits. Like they were the first ones really, like if you think about it, they were like the first ones recording their workouts and like posting like, like 30-minute long videos of them just like talking shit to each other. And that was like a precursor to what now is like, you look at like the like Young LA guys. No hate on Young LA. I like that brand, but you look at like the Young LA, like, aesthetic guys or whatever, and it's just totally a different vibe than how it used to be.
Totally, dude. And it's so funny, and I think it's much needed now, because I think there's a lot of people that just don't get what it's like to kick it like that. There's people that are sensitive about, they don't even realize you could be dogging your boys, and it's just helping you get to the next rep.
Yeah, exactly,
dude. So one of the things I love, we're going to get into all of that. So one of the things I love about your page, and one of the things I love about what you do, is you're multiple, you have your hands in multiple things. You're very diversified. And I love that you play with 10 scoops, Iron Gains. So you have that I think the dog would call it a little deathcore, but I'm willing to give it a pass because
I agree.
I know you could probably kick my ass, so I will give it a pass, but maybe a little deathcore influence, more so slam, but it's heavy as shit. Barbaric Brutality was doing your shit.
Yeah, they put out both. They put out 10 scoops and Iron Gains.
They have a pretty quality repertoire, and they did Snuffed on Sight's original stuff, right?
Yeah, they were like the ones who pretty much discovered Snuffed. They also discovered like Body Box and a bunch of other bands.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's important. And then they got transferred over. Maggot Stomp.
Maggot Stomp.
Probably
Yeah,
Maggot
I don't
Stomp's
know.
the big guy,
I'm not sure if Snuffs went over to Maggot Stomp like full time. I mean, I'm
No,
kind of confused.
Snuffed is on some real label now, I think. Or
Is
maybe
it
they were on fucking I know Body Box went over, and Body Box is Maggot Stomp's big guys.
Gates to Hell? They just went on Century Media or something. I think they were an early Barbaric band.
Okay,
I want to
Bonginator, who we
say
played with a couple times, was also on Barbaric.
Bonginator. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play with them because they had canceled. It was like they had some financial issues, so they canceled, which is fine.
Probably their school bus broke down.
Yeah, probably. I think he did buy a school bus.
Dude, we were so we played some gig with them in Pittsburgh. They just had us open, and we had a good time. But after we got to stay after, we were totally smoking out the venue. So then I was taking videos like, bro, where the hell is Bonginator at? We're smoking out the venue. Like, you guys,
That's hilarious. I was stoked to play with those guys. I was kind of bummed when we weren't able to, but
they were
maybe in the future.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the road all the time. I'm sure they will make their way out to you. So yeah, dude, the fucking so you're locked in with death metal, you're locked in with fitness, lifting, you're locked in clearly with schizophrenia and autism, which is another just soulmate vibe. And
yeah.
Then,
oh yeah.
So just now, while we have everything else, so you post on your page pretty much daily. Check it. White Monster.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much daily. I try to do daily. At first, it was like I would try to do 3 a day, and then I was just like, I was like grinding on it just because I was like enjoying it, and the comments were going off, and the engagement was going off, and then I got shadow cucked. Honestly, I think I got shadow cucked like around COVID time or whatever. But
now explain that a little bit for anyone who's never even been shadow cucked. You're seeing just as far as like engagement, you see it just totally tanked.
Dude, it plummeted. It was like, this was back, I think I only had like 40K followers, but I would still get like 10K views a story.
Yeah, I mean, you get crazy engagement. I mean, that's what I love so much about it, is like everyone gets it and everyone is in the same thing.
Yeah, the comments, the engagement's better than the memes sometimes, but
I know.
But yeah, it was like I had this like awesome engagement. I was having a blast, and then and everyone was having a blast. It was like just like a giant shit posting party on Instagram, and then COVID happened, and I think like with like I was making jokes about the vaccine and saying like, this is my vaccine. It was like, it'd be like a rusty syringe, like
or Stacy's piss.
Yeah, exactly. And so of course that like triggered Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, and they just like shadow cucked it. And so my reach went from like 10K a story to like 1,200 or so on a good day. And the likes and the shares and everything dropped, and also like the follows dropped. And then recently it's gotten good again, or decent, but not as good as it was. But I think it's because what happened is finally Mark Zuckerberg got a tan, started sort of lifting and changed his outlook on life.
He did like it was like Usher remix or something for his wife.
Yeah,
I think it was Lil Jon remix for his wife. So
he's like, what do normal humans do?
He was like, well, now he's like, oh, it's like not super popular. So we took the tampons out of the men's bathroom, and now I lift and shit. I got this cool haircut. So Zuck, we appreciate it. It's better. It comes off as a little try hard, but better to do it.
Better than it was.
Better to do the right thing for the wrong reason than to do the wrong thing for the right reason.
Exactly. He needs to put syringes in men's bathrooms now, preloaded 3cc like Trent syringes. Replace the tampons with Trent syringes.
We really did. We just got back from Seattle, and when we landed in the airport, they totally had a men's tampon and pad dispenser in the men's restroom. And that's what we were like. We were like, dude, in Cleveland, that's what
I'm
we're
gonna do.
Hopefully they get the syringe dispenser in the Cleveland airport.
Yeah. They need that. They need that at gyms across the country too. That needs to be like
dispenser in the Detroit one.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Like, we need like a civil rights for lifters, and this is like one of the things we could do. like a petition.
It's like our interests are not being represented in the mainstream. You're doing it. You're
Yeah.
doing it performatively now with this bullshit. So we know what you did because Donald Trump got elected. Zuck, you're doing this is all performative. This is a calculated political action. We know you did not really get Sigma overnight.
Exactly.
Elon,
Exactly.
Come on, dude.
Oh, dude, Elon's his is the worst. I had his hat somewhere. He had the dark MAGA hat. I actually ordered one. But
Dude, just rip on his physique for a second.
Dude, I don't know how do you get like a bloat max like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like just full mids. He's like pregnant. You know, it's like roid gut without the roids. Yeah. Oh, dude, he's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like he's about to like pop or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, he's got that like Jack Nicholson build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hilarious. So anyway, to anyone who is not fucking familiar with running a big meme page, it's not easy to do what Arthur does, to post original content 3 times a day originally, down to 1. I posted original content for years. I ran out. Now I just steal memes. I'll do some original content, but dude, it takes a lot of effort to balance that with everything else, managing that. So what I really want to get to is your creative process is awesome. It's hilarious. Your community building process is awesome and hilarious. And your curatorial skills are awesome and hilarious. I find awesome. I love nightcore, hyperpop, hard style, bubblegum bass. I love all that shit. And I love it in the gym. So I found a lot of great shit through your page, and I found a lot of great shit through your playlists. So you've done a really great job of, it's not even like everyone's laughing, but then I guarantee there are people in the comments that are linking up that are getting more into fitness. And I guarantee there are people in the comments that are finding art just like I did. So I really appreciate what you do beyond just making me laugh, which you definitely do every time you post. But I want to just trace that. So you have, like I said, and like you were getting at the beginning, you had your journey where you started with your fitness. You had your introduction into posting memes and shit. Can you talk let's trace that genesis out just a little bit, people to understand what is the method behind the madness? How did he become a lifter?
Yeah. So
with and then tie the band into it too. So
tie the band into it. Okay.
Let me get a timeline of like, what are you doing creatively? You change, and then now that brings you to where you're at now. Okay.
Whew. Man, it's a journey. It's an odyssey, a lifter's odyssey.
That's what I want. Take a second if it takes it, but that's what I really want to. When I talk to people, I really want. I always start off just with like, hey, I like what you're doing now. What you're doing is awesome, and then I want to just trace the steps of how did you get there to like, because I know it's not. I do creative stuff myself. I know it's not easy to manage doing all this shit. So what made you? What built you?
Yeah, so I guess it all started when I was a kid, unironically. So
yeah, that's where it all
dude,
started.
back in the day, you know, like early 2000s, like the internet, dude, was like the Wild West, like, and everyone's talked about it. Like, dude, such a glorious time. It was so fun.
I have nostalgic conversations about Shoop the Whoop, Lol What Pair,
dude. All that like early brain rot stuff, dude. Like, it was so good. But yeah, so we had like unlimited access to the internet. And so me and my friends, this was before I really got into music. Like, we would just lurk Newgrounds and like E-Bombs World or YTMND.
Yeah,
just the classic stuff. And then after a while, of course, it like got to like 4chan and all that stuff. You know, Newgrounds is honestly how we discovered a lot of like the super autistic, like hyper sort of I don't even know how to describe it, like hyper schizo content.
Did you ever see those Annie mutations back in the day? Do you know what I'm talking about? It would be like Japanese shit, and they would have like, it would be like Japanese sprite art that they would do these crazy videos to for kind of K-pop, or sometimes it was political stuff, but
I think I remember coming across something like that.
It's all classic like Newground shit. Anyway, it's some stuff. There's some stuff that just is burned into my memory from this time period where it'll be, because I was so young. How old are you?
I'm 30. I'm turning 33 this next Monday. So, dude, 92. Was born in 92.
Happy
Almost
Lifter Day.
almost unk status. I guess I would be unk status.
That would be unfair. So I'm 30, so I'm only a couple years behind you. But I was same thing. I had unfiltered access to the internet, which was started off with addicting games, Newgrounds.
Dude, yeah.
And
Mini
then-
games, I would go to that. Yeah.
And then
The Skull Kid on Newgrounds, dude. Did you ever play Skull Kid?
No, I didn't.
He had like the chainsaw. That was like, dude, that was like the best freaking
Played
game.
Heli Attack a lot.
What was it?
Heli Attack.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember that one where it had the target or whatever.
It would just be helicopters, and you had a spinning gun, and it was like a flash animation. So his hand was just like fucking. Oh, dude, did you ever play the Explode the Buddy game? It was just like a fucking dude. It was again all this.
I played Pimp Quest. That was a good one. That was a classic. I want to do a ripoff of Pimp Quest called Lifter Quest, but I need to find someone who can program.
Dude, it's niche. Again, we could probably go on for hours. So again, I'm interrupting you, but all I'm saying is same thing. So this is before the 2010s. This is probably mid 2000.
Yeah, mid like 2000. Probably like 2003, 2004.
Okay.
Post 9/11. For sure. But yeah, so we were lurking like Newgrounds and all this stuff, and so that kind of like laid the foundation of like super, like I said, hyper schizo, like ADHD sort of humor. And then it was totally different than like what everyone else like was into at the time, obviously. Just because like I don't think many people like normies, were necessarily lurking stuff like that.
Definitely
it was
not.
Like, yeah, they were kind of getting their content from just like whatever was on TV, or whatever they grew up around, I guess. Dane Cook, I remember Dane Cook is like, that was like the normie, like god tier level of humor.
Yeah,
and I knew guys who based their whole personality, like when I was a kid, who based their entire personality around Dane Cook. I remember thinking like, dude, this is the corniest crap ever. But now I go and I watch Dane Cook stuff and I'm like, dude, this is like, it's funny in like a post-ironic way. Like it's so bad, it's funny to me. But yeah, so like that was like the dichotomy was like, those guys, like the normie sort of like the popular crowd, right? They were like doing like that stuff, and then we were doing like the hyper sort of autism stuff, and so like I said, that laid the foundation. And then watching stuff like UHF and like Airplane and stuff like that also kind of like laid the foundation for like a sort of more weird side of or a weird take on humor. And then some time goes on and I end up getting into high school. My freshman year of high school, I kind of befriend some guitar players, and these guys are like super prog heads, like into like Dream Theater, like Symphony X, Circus Maximus, like all this like super crazy like prog stuff that I still have a soft spot in my heart for, but I never really was super into it. But they were super shredders, like they were like insane. It was like they loved like just like it was like Rusty Cooley. If you know who that is, he was like, I knew a guy who was a student of Rusty Cooley, and he was like, dude, like super shredder. And I was like, man, I need to be like that. Like I want to play like that. And so I got into like thrash and stuff like that, sort of from that starting point. So it was like prog, which I sort of was like, oh, this is okay. I was more or less just kind of vibing with it because everyone I knew was vibing with it also. But nowadays, I mean, like there's stuff like some Dream Theater stuff I still dig. Some like Circus Maximus stuff I still dig, Andromeda, stuff like that. Like I still am into it a little bit, but it's not like it just never hit. It never hit my soul. And so I got more into like I guess caveman. I hate to use that term, but it was like, I guess like the dumb sort of metal at the time, which would have been like the normie stuff, honestly, like Metallica and Megadeth and Pantera. And that was kind of like more piquing my interest, because before that I really wasn't into too much music anyways. Like, whatever was on the radio was cool. Like I thought System of a Down was cool, but other than that, it was like there wasn't anything that like really captured like my sort of imagination. And so I got into thrash. It was like the big four. And one day, for some reason, a buddy of mine, he like won Slayer tickets, and like I knew who Slayer was, but I never listened to them. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." And so, the week before we went to go see them, I started listening to Slayer. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get into them just so I know what to expect, whenever we see him." And I think he was coming with it was like Bleeding Through, Marilyn Manson, Slayer, and I want to say Kill Switch Engage might have opened up the show, but I don't know. I can't remember who the opener was, but either way, I got into Slayer through that. And so I was like, dude, this stuff's crazy. Like, this stuff's dope. It was like faster, like more aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And then like I just was like, dude, Gary King like does not give a shit about like theory or anything. He just like rips, you know what I mean? And I was like, that's like what I want to do, because at that point I was hanging out with like shredders who were all about like technicality and theory and all this stuff. And that stuff's great. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, there was just, to me, it was like Gary King was just like, dude, he was just shredding. Like he didn't give a crap. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. He had a badass flying V, the BC Rich, like it had all the tribal shit. Tattoos. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, and that's what I had, a very similar trajectory, and my internet trajectory was Ultimate Guitar Forums is what led when I was hanging out eBum's World to Newgrounds to Ultimate Guitar Forums playing guitar, and then that's when eventually 4chan. But
yeah.
Anyway, so it was same trajectory for me, and my experience was even still all the prog dudes fucking rip, but they don't approach it from an angle of, I would just call it like utilitarianism or pragmatism, where it's like I've been in more progressive bands, and it's always like, write this, rewrite it, and I just wanted to play. Eventually I just wanted to play a show.
Yeah, like you gotta let the bird fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, push
dude.
it out
Like
of the nest.
I couldn't. It was so like heady, and I just I'm from the same background as you. It's like when it comes to that, I started playing grindcore, so it was like, here's something that's attainable to me. It's accessible. I don't have to be good to do it, and we can play a show next week. And I'm not gonna like sit here and figure out. My friend Dave, who played with me in a sick death metal band Noxus, if anyone likes them, they had a great album out last year. But he will play Dream Theater to me, and he will be like, "Here, listen, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 6," and he'll count the fucking time signatures out to me, and I'll be like, dude, I appreciate it, but I'm not putting that much effort into playing, into writing a fucking metal song for 3 dudes to fucking be like, oh, cool. So
yeah,
I don't mean to interrupt, but definitely have a very similar trajectory.
No, that's exactly it too, because all the prog guys I knew too, and I think it's because of their sort of like more technical approach to music. They weren't really great at like writing songs. Like they couldn't really write music, because what happened is I think they put a lot of this theory and a lot of this like knowledge into a box, and that made it to where they weren't willing to experiment or try something different or whatever, like something that maybe doesn't make sense theoretically, but it sounds cool, and that was one thing I noticed. I was like, man, these guys, like, they're great, but they have a lot of trouble writing riffs. And I think the technicality is what got in the way. But yeah, so anyways, I got into Slayer. We went and saw Slayer with Marilyn Manson, and Marilyn Manson's show was like so corny. He had like it was like confetti and stuff. I was like, dude, what the hell is this? Like, this is so like, I don't know. I was just like, what is this, like a kid's birthday party? But so I got into Slayer, and then from then I was one of those. I was like the typical dude who was like, oh, like, when it came to death metal, I was like, oh, I like the music, but I don't like the screaming, like typical like normie approach. And so listening to Slayer kind of like helped condition me to that, because he's just kind of like, there's no real like it's not like as melodic as like a Megadeth or as a Metallica.
No, but now there's some actual like atonal shit going on, at least in the solos. Here's like there's no melody in the solos. It's dive-up.
Yeah, exactly. And so that kind of conditioned me to get more into like actual death metal. And I want to say the first real death metal band I think I got into was Skinless, just because there was that song, and there was a buddy of mine in high school. He showed me the song, and it had that sound clip where it's like, life sucks and then you die. So I got into Skinless, and I was only listening to like a few songs from them, because this was before streaming. This is honestly, this is probably even before like YouTube. I mean, YouTube was out, but like nobody was uploading like
I remember it
a
coming
skinless
out.
record.
Before that, I would have to buy on iTunes, or I would keep sign up for Rhapsody free trials. So that was the first streaming I remember was fucking Rhapsody.
Yeah. So this was like way before streaming. So like I said, I only listened to like 3 or 4 skinless songs just because it was like my homie had an MP3 that he let me borrow. And then that sort of got me more into like real, like more conventional death metal. I guess it was like, that'd be like New York, I guess, like brutal death sort of.
Yeah, I would say that's where they're at ish.
Yeah. And then from there, you know, me being a guitarist, I stumbled onto Necrophagist or Necrophagist, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it was that record Onset to Putrefaction.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this record's insane. And then I was like, I got to check out their other stuff. And I listened to that album Epitaph, and the first song I listened to was called Stab Wound. And dude, I was like blown away at like, it was like technical, it was fast, it was just like blast beats and brutality. And then the solos on top of that were like, you know, super like shredder, but at the same time, like had a lot of melody. And I was like, dude, this stuff's super dope. So I got into like technical death metal for a long time. It was like Necrophagist, Spawn of Possession, Severed Savior, who else? I mean, just a Origin, just a bunch of like more like technical sort of death metal. And I listened, dude, I don't know, I probably just burnt myself out on all that stuff for a long, because I listened to that all throughout high school. Like I was such a metalhead. I had long hair, had a Xiphos, and I've been a Xiphos and would just like shred on it all the time, dude. I love that guitar, and I regret that I got rid of it because, dude, honestly, that thing was sick. And so, yeah, so that stuff is kind of where my death metal sort of roots came from, and I just befriended some people in the hardcore scene at school, and one of them was into death metal too, and so they were like, dude, like let's start a band, and just like, you know, play like death metal with hardcore stuff, which, you know, nowadays is not too different. But back then, I guess that was maybe a little bit of a different approach, but who knows?
Definitely. I mean, people did not I did, like when we were into shit, I had the same trajectory as you where I got into, like, I was all metal shit. We ended at grindcore, but it was, for me, it was like the intersection, the same thing, Big Four. And then I heard stuff like At the Gates and In Flames. And then I heard, but then I was hearing Cannibal Core, or I'm sorry, I was hearing Anal Cunt and stuff like that, just from looking at memes and shit. So dude, yeah. I was like, at first I was like, this is crazy. I love this as a joke. And then I was eventually like, well, you know, I do like, you know, At the Gates. You hear this old At the Gates, not much different than Cannibal Corpse. Then there was no lines anymore. But anyway, all I was getting at is, yeah, we didn't know anyone as far as like for that like New York hardcore style of shit. No, like they did the way that's mixed together now. Like no, I never heard anyone talk about Marauder kind of stuff, like or like the dudes that liked metal were not into Madball and not Front and like that kind of the way death metal is mixed with hardcore now.
It was like very it was like antagonistic towards each other. Like they did not vibe. Like I remember I had a buddy who went and saw, I think Hatebreed came with some metal band. I want to say it was like maybe Chimera or something.
Okay.
But they came here, and these dudes, like, you know, my buddies, they were hardcore guys, and so they went to go see Hatebreed, and like the show was like just totally off because, like, you know, back then, like, you know, hardcore and metal just were like, they did not mix at all, and so there was like a ton of fights, people getting jumped, you know, stuff like that. And so yeah, it wasn't very like common to have somebody be like, dude, let's combine these styles, because, like, you know, where would the crowd be for that?
Yeah, we were all wannabe J-Dogs, where we wanted to impress like those like old metal guys. So we would have said that's yo-yo stuff.
That's yo-yo.
Fetus is about as wiggered out as we would have got with it when we were younger. Now I don't give a shit about anything. But
yeah, same. I'm just like, whatever. I'll listen to, like, honestly, dude, my freaking taste in music is so cooked. I'll listen to anything. I won't. The one thing I won't listen to is like noise.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like I'm not far from that. So
yeah, I mean, definitely. I like when I'm some of the Lil Texas stuff. I'm like, this is harder than some Merzbow stuff.
Yeah, dude, I met that guy, Lil Texas. He's like super into grindcore. Like he was talking to me. He was saying like Insect Warfare was like his favorite band. I was like, dude, hell yeah, like that's dope.
I could tell how he reps the shit. I really hope I can talk to him one day. I love his stuff. I love his. I mean, I'm sure he's a positive, lifter minded guy.
Oh, dude, he's super cool. He's a super chill dude. But yeah. So, anyways, I got into hardcore just because like I had some homies, and we started like a little band that didn't really go anywhere. But through that, like I met a lot of people, and I would go to shows. And Houston, at the time, the metal scene like wasn't that great. It was okay. And then also the hardcore scene wasn't really that great either, but I knew more people in the hardcore scene. So I would just go to hardcore shows. And through that, like, you know, I got more into like the heavier stuff because there's two types of people, I guess, when it comes to hardcore. And there's the people who have the punk background who, you know, they start off with like,
Street
you know,
punk.
the agnostic fronts. And yeah, it's like
crust. I talked to a lot of dudes that they were into Rancid, or they maybe at first they were into Blink-182, then Rancid, then the Casualties, then they got into whatever Minor Threat or something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, it's like Lower East Side New York hardcore, that kind of, which is like more punk roots. There's that type of person, and then there's the guy who gets into hardcore from like a metal perspective, and I fell more into that realm, while a lot of the people here they had more of like a punk background, which is fine. I mean, if you're into it, you know. I've come to kind of appreciate that stuff also, but you know, I was more into the metal stuff, and so I started getting more into like the metal influence stuff from you know, and so stuff like Marauder or stuff like Bulldoze or even like Denied, One Second Thought, like stuff that had like chug, like jun 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 jun, you know, before it's chug. Like chug now is just like mosh metal, like kind of deathcore. But chug back then, like, you know, you have like a fat dude with high blood pressure, like just screaming his ass off. And it's like heavy ass riffs and his face is all red. And it's like, yeah, hell yeah. Like this is freaking dope, you know? And so I got more into that side of stuff. And that brought me more into like the beatdown realm. And this was before beatdown really was widely known or even widely accepted, because there was a time where like it was like heavy bands were like looked down on, you know. It was like, oh dude, that stuff.
I mean, yeah, we were playing shit 10 years ago with our like grindcore band and stuff. Now when we go, like, we'll go play a house show or something, and every band is like a beatdown band, and it was not the default position like it is now. That's what all the kids want. I mean, even normies will walk in because they get, you know what I mean? You get it immediately. Even if you don't listen to that kind of music, you walk into a room where a band's playing like that, and you see kids dancing and shit. You immediately get it. That's what we always joke. Like I even did a meme about it where it's like wait, how did I word it? But it was like when a fastcore band is playing a blast beat and you just get that beat down stare, because like I have friends in a fastcore
like the
band.
fluoride stare.
Yeah, and it's the fluoride stare picture. Yeah, because it's like I got friends in power violence bands and kids will just look around and they don't know what I'll tell the band, I'll be like, they don't know what you want them to do to it, because like you're changing tempos every 10 seconds. They don't know. They're like, am I supposed to run around? Am I supposed to start punching? Like they're I'm like, you got to literally tell them, hey, so for this next song, run around in a circle, because they don't know.
Yeah, no, I've seen that too. Like, because the bills here are sometimes get pretty mixed, which is cool. I think that's always a cool thing. But yeah, like you'll have like the crowd that's there for like the more like heavy beatdown stuff, and then you'll have the crowd that's there for like the fast stuff, and it's like they don't really know. They're like, what do I do at this part, you know? And you'll see like a guy like try to start a push fit or something like that, you know?
And they just which is knocked or crowd.
Yeah. But that's funny. The fluoride stare meme. I saw one that was like it was talking about that band Kubla Khan. And it was like Kubla Khan fans when a band does like a shout out to Warzone or something like that, and it was like this fluoride stare.
Yeah, the fluoride stare.
But
so anyways, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. I just have a lot.
No, it's cool. You're cool. And so I got into beatdown, and the first like real beatdown band that I got into was World of Pain, because they came out with I think it was a 3-way split, and it was called the Earthquake Split, and it was a band. It was Ruckus, Zolbaba, and then World of Pain. And I was like, dude, World of Pain, like this crap's heavy. And they had a song on there called Suffer, and it was like the heaviest thing I'd ever heard. And so I went down that pipeline, got into bands like Enemy Mind, Vow of Hatred, Line of Scrimmage, like stuff like that. And then and that's pretty much all I listened to in my like later teenage years, up until I was like 22 or something. And then after that, I was just like, dude, music sucks. Like, you know, I'm done with music, whatever. I'm going to focus on life, you know, like how we talked about before. It's like, I'm just going to focus on life. Because at that time I was so jaded. I was like, everyone I know who's a musician, like their life sucks. Like, you know, and I still kind of think that. I'm like, dude, music kind of like ruins people's lives. Like, you know, like they get this dream of like, I'm going to be a touring musician. And then it's like, they have a baby mama or something. And it's like, dude, you have to like, how are you going to support your kid, you know?
Dude, and I know, and it's just like, that's how I even got into fitness, is just, I tore my ACL on stage at Maryland Death Fest playing with Hemdale. I fucked my shit up touring, dude. I was so fat, so weak. You know what I mean? I'm up all night, drinking all night. Just, you know what I mean? You never see the sunlight. It's a really fucking rough, gig on your body. And like, you could dude, like when we go see we'll go see you go see some lifer metal dudes, it's like they look like what they're singing about.
Yeah, for real. I mean, who is
no one teaches you how to. No one says like, okay, hey, so when you're doing that, maybe when you come back, drink some water. Maybe when you come back, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just do it, and then those are the bands that do it now. So I see them even when I see these 9-month on the road bands, they all puff up.
Dude, they look haggard. Yeah, like they have that like alcoholic face sometimes. You know, the swollen sort of. The
cheeks are super swollen.
Yeah,
and again, not that mine is much better, but like, yeah, dude, like it is so funny. You could see after like 2 tours, cheeks puffed up, eyes sunken in. Like, it's brutal, and I feel for them, but
it's tough. It's a tough life, and it does not pay well either. That's why at the time I was like, I had a couple friends who were kind of pursuing that route. And I was like, dude, like, there's no way I'm going to do that. Like, you know, I just don't want to pay my dues that way. And so,
and you were already getting into bodybuilding and stuff.
Yeah. Too. And I was like, I had gotten into fitness at that time. Like, I was like 17 and gotten into like fitness. And then, so by the time I did decide to like not really care about music, I was like, I had something else to put my time to.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just dedicated myself to that. And I was like really into the aesthetics stuff at the time, which was like, I want to say it was like, this was like Ziz, of course. He was around. This was like right when he died though. And so it was like him. And then a little bit later, Jeff Seid came around. And then of course, like John Skywalker, like all the sort of like aesthetics guys, even Greg Plitt, he was like an aesthetics guy before, like anybody was.
And then let me go a little deeper with that. So you're working out like this. Are you doing a lot of like machine stuff, or you're going for hypertrophy shit, or talk about that? You're following from that.
So at this time I was doing a lot more. It was definitely more reps, hypertrophy stuff. That was like the thing at the time. It was kind of like cutting edge.
Yeah.
And all the bodybuilders were talking about, like hypertrophy, like you got to do reps and all this stuff. And so I was doing the same thing that everyone else was preaching, and it worked. It was cool. I mean, it was fine. I got shredded, which is what I wanted. I had to diet, of course, but yeah, I was doing a lot more machines. I wasn't doing like heavy compound lifts. I wasn't doing deadlifts or squats.
That came into vogue a little bit with the influencer thing.
It did.
And then, because that's where my background is, I got into fitness. I studied Paul Chek's work. I went to Paul Chek school. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I think Joe Rogan's talked about him before.
He has some of his like program design comes from Charles Poliquin, but again, he's more on the ROMTARD end.
Yeah, the ROMTARD.
My it's very holistic, like hippie stuff. I mean, heavy lifts, like he trains a lot of world class athletes, but very like holistic diet. He has a lot of spirituality in it and stuff. So more on that ROMTARD physical therapy end, because I couldn't even keep up with that kind of shit. But that is what happened, because that's what they're at, like the stuff I learned. They're very anti-machine. They're very like pro-functional stuff. But it's funny because that's what's really in vogue now with, after Joe Rogan and the On It guys, and after that goes mainstream, it's all about maces and it's all about functional shit.
Yeah. People are like obsessed with functional stuff too. I mean, I guess that there's nothing wrong with it when it comes to like longevity and stuff, but I don't think you're gonna get like, I don't know, you're just not gonna get strong from it. But
yeah, I mean, dude, everyone's got to do like their own fucking, like you do, like that's the thing. And then I take some courses now for exercise science and like, I'm with like 18-year-old kids, and they'll be like, oh, is it better to do more reps? Like, and I'm like, completely depends on what your goal is. Like,
exactly.
You never give a yes or no answer to any question like that. And that like these kids could fucking kick my ass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, they're in good shape, but I'll be like, yeah, they don't get where it's like, it completely depends on what you're training for.
You should just like totally scold them. Be like, yeah, it's better to lift heavier if you want to be like a beast like me. If you don't want to get mogged every day.
They'll be like, dude, what the fuck? They'll be like, you fucking weird ass 30-year-old loser. I could kick your ass.
But yeah, so I was like, I was into hypertrophy, doing reps, and it was me and the homies, killing it every day. And then
500 quarter squats.
Dude, sometimes we would be at the gym for like 3 hours on leg days. And back then, dude, it was like, to me, I was like, yeah, I could be there even longer. Like in my 20s, I was like, I'll stay all fucking night. I don't care. And now I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like 45 minutes tops. Like, and
I'm really struggling at the end of the hour. If I'm really doing shit, you know what I mean? Today I was doing cable. I'm doing push and pull cables and wood chops. Like, that, like, you know what I mean? Everything I'm doing is kind of fun. I'm like, I do not need to be here for fucking more than 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm in and I'm out. I'm doing, back then I used to do like 6 movements, and I would do 4 sets, like, and I would do like, like 4-minute rest in between sets. Just like, it was like super structured. And then after a while, and I got in good shape. Don't get me wrong. I at least in my opinion, I think I looked pretty good.
You're a total stud. So one of the other reasons I wanted to make sure any aspiring lifter could get some of the Riz sauce from you.
Yeah, the Riz, the DIG Riz. But and then after a while, me and the homies, like I said, we were lifting, we were killing it. And after a while, I don't know why, but I was just like, dude, I feel like I want to just like take gear, and it wasn't because I hit a plateau. It was just because like, I think what it was, I was doing keto for like, dude, I did keto for like 2 years straight.
I've been doing it for a month now, so I fucking commend you for doing that.
Dude, it was horrible. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I can tell, so I don't remember my shits. They definitely weren't great. They weren't watery. It was more like rabbit shit, I guess.
No. It's definitely not watery. Yeah, it's just hard to get all the fucking fiber in without having fucking vegetable. I have like cauliflower with every meal. It's like the only thing you can have.
Yeah, it would feel like I had to shit, but then like not much would come out.
Yeah.
And so
thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing about your shits.
Yeah, I'll send a picture. I have a picture on my cloud.
We'll post that after.
Yeah,
I keep interrupting you. Please continue with your story.
But yeah, no problem. So anyways,
to 2 years of keto, dude,
it was brutal. And so that like tanked my freaking hormones. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like do gear, because it's like my hormones.
You were trying to get super shredded. You were trying to get super slim doing it, or what were you doing it for?
I was trying to get super shredded, and it worked. Like I got shredded. I was like 190 pounds, like just kind of just shredded, because I'm like 6'2", and so or maybe 6'1". It depends whatever day. On a good day I'm 6'2", but and so I was like 190 pounds. Felt really, I felt like crap every day, but I felt like my body was like really tight. Like I felt like shredded, and so I was just like tired all the time. Felt like crap. Didn't have much motivation. And so I was like, I'm just going to take testosterone, because my logic was, oh, I can take testosterone and make gains, feel good, and still do keto. And so that's what I did, and it felt great. I felt like a badass, dude. It was like, I was like, dude, this is awesome. And so that was like my first cycle, and then I paired it with Winstrol, just because I was like, I want to look even more shredded, like mine as well. And I have a picture. If you scroll, I think it's still on the Dark Iron Gains page. But if you scroll like to the very, very beginning, there's a picture of me like super shredded. I look super depleted. That was like at the beginning of my cycle. But I felt great anyways. So I just continued to work out, train. I stayed on Winstrol for like 6 weeks, got off, stayed on test for like 12 weeks, got off. And then I did a PCT, and some time goes on. I'm still not really listening to music that much. I'm like, whatever about it. I'm just kind of listening to like drill music, and like Gucci Mane, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cause at that time it was like Chief Keef had kind of barely popped off. Like, I think it was like 2012 or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna 2012.
Yeah. And so, it was like, he had that Back from the Dead mixtape, and I was like, dude, this is like the hardest shit ever.
Yeah.
And so I was like into like drill music and like trap music in general. And so I was listening to that and just working out, doing that. And around like 2015, so I have a friend. He's got a crazy story. He got out of this cult, this religious cult, and so he came in and moved in with us. And this was at a time like when I was sort of getting out of hip hop and back into metal slowly, and or not hip hop, but like trap music. More the like the yo-yo stuff. But
I was jamming all that at the time too.
Yeah, and so my buddy, he's like, yo, I just need a place to live. And so he came and lived with us. And this dude, he was one of the earlier sort of prog heads that I was homies with.
Okay.
And so we kind of like were jamming all the old bands that we used to jam. And so I was like, oh man, this stuff's dope. Like, so it kind of reignited my taste in music. And so I got back into writing. And at the time, he had just gotten out of this cult. He was like super depressed. And so I was like, well, dude, like whenever I did steroids, that helped me. And so I was like, I felt like crap. But then I did steroids and felt great. And so I told him, I was like, let's just do test. And he was like, okay. So we just started a cycle. And this is like at the time when we were living at this dude's house. And this is a guy that we met at the gym. His name was Felix. Great guy. And we met him at the gym, and he was letting us stay at his house for like $350 a month, which is awesome. And so we were staying there, and it was like me, another homie from back in the day who was like a lifter, and then my buddy who got out of the cult. And it was like, and Felix, of course, the landlord, but he wasn't into lifting. So me and my lifter buddy and the guy who got out of the cult, we were like, yeah, let's just do a cycle and like work out and like, write music. And so we did that, and we started like getting back into writing, and that was like my second cycle. This was like 2015 or whatever. And so from that, I was like, you know what, like I think I'm gonna get back online and just kind of like post like just like stupid stuff about lifting, because we were super into Bigger by the Day and like Rich Piana and like the Delray Misfits and stuff at that time also.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to like kind of like shit post about lifting, and so that's when I started. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to repost stuff that I see on Fit, which it's a 4chan board. And I was like, I'm just going to repost funny stuff I see on that site and, go from there. And so I started doing that, but I quickly ran out of material. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's just going to be easier to make my own posts. And, and sometimes like, at first it was like, what do I even say? And so I wouldn't even know what to say. And I would just put like some random crap, and it would be like the most funny thing I ever seen. And so that's kind of what I did. I just like would like throw up on a page, pretty much just put some random crap on like a meme and post it with like a bodybuilder, and it would be like the funniest thing ever. And and so that's like where that came from. And then of course around that time too, there was the famous like gang weed memes. I don't know if you know those.
Yeah. That's where you're talking where you have this post made by, you know what I mean? That's like the gold.
It was like that. It was like the Joker, but
yeah,
he would talk about
I did some of those too. How you have the fucking caption inside of the thing this post made by, and then there's deep fried memes popping off at this time too.
Yeah, exactly. Like super ironic, post-ironic stuff was popping off, and so that like definitely influenced like the direction that I was gonna go with, you know, my memes. And it's kind of funny because like the same thing that I did with music, like getting influences and applying it to like writing a riff or writing a song is like basically what I did with memes. It was like, oh, you know, like this is influencing me, so I'm gonna kind of like incorporate this into my post or whatever. And at that time too, this was like $1 Million Extreme had just came out. I think it had gotten canceled. It was World Peace, not $1 Million Extreme, but World Peace had just came out. Was like the funniest show on Adult Swim. Got canceled, and I was already like a Sam Hyde fan, so that like sort of influenced my posts and stuff like that. And then I just kept kind of going from there, and it turned into what it is today. And eventually, like I said, this was around the same time my sort of love for music kind of reignited. And one day I was just like, man, let's just record a 4-song demo. And it all spawned because I wanted to start a band called 10 Scoops. And I got the idea because Rich Piana would always do multiple scoops of pre-workout. He would do like 4 scoops, and he'd be like, you know, don't do what I do or whatever. And I was like, you know, like I'm gonna do like a Rich Piana type like heavy band. And so there was another band called 10 of Swords that I listened to. And I was like, I'm just gonna do the 10 because it rolls off the tongue. I'm gonna do 10, and it's like a lot of scoops. 10 scoops.
It's a lot of scoops, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 10 scoops, a lot of scoops. And so yeah, I got the name from just like combining pretty much 2 different things in my life. And so yeah, I started that band, and my original purpose was I wanted to name the band 10 Scoops. I wanted to name the demo 10 Scoops, and I wanted to have a song called 10 Scoops. That way, whenever people listen to it in their car, it's just 10 scoops 3 times. And that's what we did.
The same thing. It was my buddy's idea. I don't know. It was my buddy in the band's idea. My band Abraded has the same thing. I thought it was silly. He was fixated on it, but he was equally fixated on making that happen as you were.
That's awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Well, I mean, it's classic when DSI did it.
Yeah, I got it because World of Pain, their self-titled was, you know, World of Pain. Okay. They were called World of Pain, and then they had a song called World of Pain, and I was like, oh dude, like, yeah, like that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And so they really get the fucking message.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, we say our name like a trillion times in every song, which is another thing I kind of got from like just listening to hardcore, especially Trapped Under Ice, because they would say TUI all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, well, in trap, I mean, that's what's awesome about trap music is how self-referential it is. You know,
yeah, that too.
The first shit I loved was all the, you know, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg shit, but like they always had, you know, I mean, they always say the same lines, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool when they reference their old songs, and like they.
Oh, dude, I love that.
They have their own canon. They have their own universe.
Exactly, like you have your own canon. That's exactly it. And I think since people are musicians, like in bands, of course, and so a lot of times musicians don't want to be like repetitive. Like they want to try, and I'm guilty of this too. It's like they want to try and find something new or rework something. But I've always thought it was cool when a band will like be self-referential, like when they do something that they did before, or
yeah, I mean that was I thought it was so cool because I'm like, dude, they can shout themselves out and people get it, but they have enough of their own shit going on where they can make references to their own. I always thought it was so cool whenever they would fucking reuse lines and on Doggy Style from The Chronic or shit like that.
Yeah, I think that stuff's super dope. And that's kind of how 10 Scoops came about. I just was like, let's just record, you know, this demo, and then I did it, and you know, the luckily.
And you were doing what you did? You were doing guitar on that?
Yeah, I did guitar on that. I didn't do vocals yet, just because at the time, like, I wasn't like trying to do vocals, and so I wrote the guitars, I programmed the drums, and I also did the bass. But we had help from our buddy Tommy because he knew how to like get all that stuff set up in the DAW. That was before I knew how to self-record too.
Okay.
And so we did that, released it, and it did good with the people who follow my page. They really dug it. And I think that's kind of a cool thing too. Like, I didn't think about it at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool when you have this like sort of like really in universe thing for your own page, and it kind of is like it's like a reference of the page, but
Dude,
it's like outside of that.
I love that about your page. You know what I mean? You take that in multiple things, and now that's a trope. You know what I mean? Now it's common. I don't know if you were getting like just the whole like nightcore like shit from other shit. Now there's a bunch like and we're friends. We know Schizo Lifter and shit like that. But like now that's to be expected from it. Now they have now they call that the Aryan Classics. So like now a bunch of people associate that with that. But I remember at first I was like that I get it, but I was like, I know other people are gonna be like, what is the correlation here?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's funny because like I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything, but I definitely think there has been like an influence from my page that's carried over into the into like right-wing gram and into just like fitness memes in general.
Definitely the intersection of fitness and schizo. Shit,
yeah.
You know, and in that right-wing space, conspiracy, schizo, right-wing, totally.
Just because like now there's like everything's sped up, everything's nightcore.
Crazy colors, and even when all the artists are doing that too. All the hyperpop electronic dudes, you know, they're doing crazy maximalist with some of that even tribal, but chrome drip, and because they're taken from metal too. So it's funny because like this area we're pulling from, like aesthetically, is definitely way more like recognized and multiple fronts now. A lot of mainstream dudes will be doing metal logo shirts.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen a lot of that too. Like Balenciaga will have like a crazy like metal logo. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that, and then the page just kind of continued to sort of grow until COVID, of course, and then it had like a slump. But now it's picking back up. But funny enough, we did another EP with 10 Scoops called The Lifter Zone, and the way we even got found by Barbaric, I think, was like Snuffed on Sight came across one of the songs we posted, and someone like, I think it was them, but either way, someone tagged Barbaric in the thing, and
now just to clarify, the first one you self-released?
This no, the demo didn't really get much attention outside of my crowd, which still.
But I just mean, did you self-release that, or did you do that with a label?
Oh yeah, we self-released that. Yeah, we self-released that.
And then was it just recording, or were you playing gigs too?
Just recording. It was like, honestly, it was just gonna be an internet project.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Then Barbaric kind of found out about us, and they were like, "Hey, dude, if you want to put some stuff out, like, let me know." And I'm actually really good friends with Mike. He's super good guy. Kenny, also super good guy. And I was like, heck yeah, dude, like for sure. And we'll get started writing on it like right away. And so we started writing some stuff. And at that time, like Snuffed on Sight had they had been around, but like they were really starting to sort of pop off at that time. Same with Peeling Flesh. They had been around, but they like hadn't popped off yet. And so Snuffed, they were like, dude, do y'all want to play in like, you know, the Texas dates with us? And we were like, oh dude, heck yeah. And at that, there was no one in the band. It was just me. And I was like, I'm down. And I was like, I didn't tell them, but I was like, yeah, I'll just get some people to, you know, fill in or whatever. And
yeah.
So that's kind of how we ended up getting the band together and started playing shows. And now we're just still a band, and we still write, and we're working on some new stuff right now too. But there was a bit of a lull in between. And so I started working on Iron Gain stuff. And that's when I learned how to do like vocals. That's when I learned how to record myself and program drums and all that good stuff. And I just, you know, I'm about to drop some new Iron Gain stuff soon. I'm just waiting on the masters. Dude,
hell yeah. Tell about your process for that a little bit. Or it's program drums. What are you using for all your shit?
So for the drums, I'm using the Ergtone OSDM kit.
Hell yeah, I have it. I torrented it.
Dude, yeah. I bought it, but I bought it on sale. It was like $10.
I got a cracked version of that one. I apparently it was only $10, but I couldn't shell it out.
Yeah. Definitely. I paid in Bitcoin.
I
paid in Trend coin.
Yeah. So definitely a good kit. And then what's the rest of your recording setup wise?
For guitar, I use STL tones.
Okay.
Ignite. It's the Ignite one. And I use the Emissary on Ignite. And that's pretty much it. And of course I customize the Emissary, like I mess with the knobs and stuff like that on the DAW. And then for bass, I have Panda bass. But
I never heard of that one.
It's all right. I mean, it's decent, but I just recently bought a real bass that
you're talking that was a program bass.
Yeah, that was a program bass.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so because I didn't have a real bass, I was like, well, I'm just gonna go buy one. And so I went and bought a real bass, and now, dude, it's so much easier using a real bass.
Yeah,
obviously.
What the
and so
what is this?
Dude, it's like programming the bass like sucks ass, but so yeah, now I just like record all the time at my house and make memes and work out,
Dude, badass.
Yeah, living the life.
So have you done any gigs with the guys recently, or?
Yeah, we did one with this. It's actually a pretty popular band called Southpaw.
Okay.
They're like sort of more like Hatebreed, sort of hardcore.
Okay.
They're good though. They're heavy, and so we played that, and we also played with another band called Muscle, which is like another lift. They're a lifter band, which is pretty
so I know I saw their logo recently. It was funny because there were dudes there. There's a grindcore band from Ohio called Pizza High 5, and then I recorded their band after, and their band was called Lunk, and it's the exact same thing. We did my old band MDFL did a split with them, but it's the exact same thing. So they're called Lunk, like at fucking Planet Fitness, and then like the logo is all biceps and shit like that. It's almost identical, but hopefully those Lunks like recorded that and never did anything again. So it's a great concept. I hope they fucking take that far as hell.
Dude, they're like all about touring. Because I had talked to them at our last show.
Do they actually have muscles?
The vocalist, he's pretty jacked. He's pretty stacked. The other guys, they're in good shape, but they're not like, they're not like ripped, but they'll get there. I think they opened up for Terror too, like, I was like, okay, that's dope. But they're cool. They're cool dudes. Their music's cool, and so we played with them recently. And we're about to play another show with a band out here called Dragged Across Concrete. They're pretty dope. They're friends of ours. There's another band called Claymore that's on it, and I'd have to look at the bill, but it's with a bunch of really cool local bands. And then after that, we're just gonna take a little break and try to put out new stuff. At least with 10 Scoops.
Killer. Did you ever play with Cryptic Void?
No, I would. I'm actually friends with Steven.
That's why I asked. I saw because I thought Steven did my logo and shit.
Hey, we had a brief conversation about it one time because he was talking about trying to book some stuff at Ojimin, which is a venue out here.
Yeah.
And he was thinking about like booking some bands and stuff, and he was like, "Would y'all like? Is that something y'all would be down to play?" And I was like, honestly, at the time, 10 Scoops wasn't doing anything, and I was just like, honestly, probably not. But I don't know if he was for real about it, or if
I was definitely curious who your audience was, because I'm like, some of those the grindcore kids are gay. I'm
not gonna lie,
they don't get the Sigma vibe.
Yeah, they don't get the shower vibe.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though. When 10 Scoops play shows, dude, like nobody comes out, which is fine. I'm cool with that. Because it has a big it has like a big online like streaming or whatever, but that does not translate live, which is fine by me. Dude, I love playing to 15 dudes in the crowd.
I mean, we're the same way.
Yeah, dude, I love that. Those shows to me are like, I'm like, yeah, this is the real underground, but even if I'm just like coping or whatever. But yeah,
I don't.
Cryptic
That's
Void's super dope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Steven's art's super cool. I'm sure you'd like his art. And I saw you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it you guys were hanging at the MDE show and shit? So I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I saw.
fucking-
Me and him got barbecue last week. We went to a place and got some barbecue. So I mean, I see him like every so often. I need to go to another Cryptic Void show just because it's been a long time since I've seen him. And
yeah,
I don't know.
It's been a long time since we did Houston. We've done it a couple times with PLF and stuff like that.
Nice.
When he was still
dope
down there, I think Dave's not even down there anymore. I don't know. We don't talk to them anymore. We never did. Who you guys would be great with is up in Corpus is Woomrot.
Oh, I love that band, dude.
They're
I'm actually good. Well, not super good, but I'm good buddies with Ed. He's like
yeah.
band.
That's we
super,
played.
Dude, super cool guy.
They did a festival. We played. It was 2 years ago. Because my mom lives in San Antonio, so we just went and we fucking hung out at my mom's. And but homeboy in fucking San Antonio, John from what's his band, Unnecessary Surgery or something, but Inexorable Horde. He was so solid. He put us on the fucking Mortician show last minute, and then we played that Corpus Fest with Woomrot, and just those dudes were super cool. We had a ton of fun. It was hilarious. They had Tom Ski Mask, and he brought it was just old Memphis dudes like that, and there's like 5 people in the audience, dude. And these old rappers were so cool about it. Like normally rappers are such douchebags about fucking, I'll do 2, I'll walk, give me 10K and I'll walk out for a second. You know what I mean? And these dudes like totally rocked it with like 10 people there. So we had a Woomrot was heavy as shit. We had a blast hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, they play Houston quite a bit. Ed, he's a super cool guy. And so one day I'm sure we'll play with them. I know we've almost played with them before, but I think like our schedules just didn't like work or something like that. But did y'all play was it Boozers y'all played at in Corpus?
No, it was an outdoor place. It was an outdoor festival. What was it? It wasn't Gulf Coast Grind Fest. It was something Beatdown Fest.
Okay.
We're not very beatdown though, so it was fucking. We were soft.
Yeah, that's all right. Matches the vibe still.
Yeah.
As long as it's loud and fast, that's all that matters.
Yeah. One day I would love to play with you guys. It would be get everyone, get all those people together, get Woomrot, get fucking at least Steven from Cryptic Void play you guys. That would be a blast.
Dude, I'm so down.
Meeting of the memes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Meeting of the memers. Yeah.
Dude, so I love that. So you have a couple link up. Let's talk. Just mention, give a little brief overview of your YouTube.
Yeah.
We covered the band. We covered the memes.
I have a YouTube channel. It's not really like a real one. I mean, I just like kind of shit post on there. It's just me working out, Dark Iron Gains on YouTube. I have one where I've been doing video essays too, called Iron Gains Speaks, and that one I'm still experimenting with. I mean, people could sub if they want, but
dude, let's talk about that one a little bit. What are some of the essays on?
Or it's not Iron Gains Speaks, it's Iron Gains Talks. It's that one.
Okay, what are some talks on?
So I did one on bodybuilders who have committed like terrible crimes like murder or whatever. And then I did one on Greg Plitt. And then I'm working on one right now about Elliot Rodger and how he got bullied on bodybuilding.com.
I meant to ask you that earlier if you were on bodybuilding.com when you were talking the initial internet radicalization phase.
I used to lurk it. I used to lurk like almost every forum. I never really signed up or posted, but I would lurk.
I would post on the Ultimate Guitar one, but I would definitely lurk. I went to bodybuilding, and then we were just doing drugs and shit, so I would find blue light and shit like that too.
Yeah, I was just like I would lurk the image boards. I would lurk. I never like signed up or anything, but just a lurker.
So many riveting essay topics.
Oh yeah, I have a few that I have written down. I'm trying to think of some interesting ones. There's that one. It's like this guy from back in the day called like IGF1 or something like that.
Okay.
I may be getting his name wrong. I have it written in my notes, but he would post all the time. This is like before videos, and he would post all the time about like, human growth hormone and all this stuff. And the way he would do it was kind of like similar to Bronze Age Pervert. The way that, who Bronze Age Pervert, like the way he talks and like types and stuff, it was similar. IGF-1 did like a similar sort of thing. And I'm curious. I'm like, is that where BAP got that from, or is it just a coincidence? So that's not what the video is about. It's going to be about that guy, but he's kind of like a lesser known bodybuilding internet figure.
I love it. I love that you have respect for the classics, but also no fear of treading new territory.
Yeah. Got to kick down the doors.
What are you working on now as far as the gym, and are you still cycling? And for anyone listening who's never cycled, would you have any advice for them?
For the gym, I focus. I don't do hypertrophy anymore. I just focus on kind of like lifting heavy.
Yeah.
And so if it's like a chest day, for instance, I'll start off with bench. Like I'll start off with like a compound movement.
Oh, you're talking, I don't do low reps?
Yeah, low reps, like super low reps, like 3 to 5. I'll do like a warm-up set, and then I'll just go from there to like, 3 to 5 reps. And then I'll do like 3 movements, for each muscle. And then I just get the heck out of there. I'm not trying to stick around all day, and it gets too crowded now, man. It's crazy. It's like for a long time, I'm going to Crunch. I went to a place called Iron City out here, which was super dope at first. Like it had pros training there, like Patrick Moore trained there, Hunter Labrada trained there, Logan Franklin was training there. It was like multiple Mr. Olympia like competitors that were training at the gym. And then and 10 Scoops actually played a show at their grand reopening.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was super dope, but it just got like super crowded. Everyone there kind of wanted to be like I don't know, it just seemed like the vibe was like a little different. And so I was like, I'm too old to be at this gym. It was like everyone was like young, and I was like, dude, I feel like I'm like the old grandpa, like, hey, what's up, kids, And so I was like, I'm just gonna get out of here and go to like a normie gym. And so I went to Crunch, and dude, I love it.
Crunch has been treating you good?
Oh yeah, it's super dope. I mean,
I've never been into Crunch, but I've been into Planet Fitness for sure.
Yeah,
which is not good for lifting.
No, not really. I mean, if you're on the go, like if you're a touring band and that's the only place you can go, like that's cool. But
because they got the showers and shit.
Yeah, exactly, duid.
Yeah. So
back in the day, you know what's funny? Back in the day, I used to live like in this like abandoned trailer on my buddy's property, and I had a gym membership. And I would go in the mornings to take showers at 24 Hour Fitness. And that's like, dude, I was like, this is all you need, like a gym membership.
Oh yeah, I've seen multiple people doing that. That's smart for sure.
Oh yeah. So if you're on tour, touring band, just get a gym membership. You could use the showers.
I've heard quite a few say that.
Yeah, and then you could, waffle stomp. If you take a shit in the showers, just waffle stomp it, and no one will know.
There'll be they're co-ed bathrooms now too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You'll be in good company.
They put tampons in the men's restroom, but that's for when your squat plug stretches it too big and starts to bleed.
you gotta just go in the girls' bathroom to get the syringes.
Yeah. You know how people have like their plugs blow out like on their ears?
Yeah.
Like people have that with like their squat plugs, like they blow out.
Dude, I know. I love when you're posting with all the piss is dribbling down for all the competitors and shit. It's like
the one of my favorite ones is the gym after like a woman's deadlift competition, and it's like the gym's getting flooded, like like all this water flowing out.
Must be that time of the month again. Dude,
I posted one like 2 days ago about like the women's locker room smelling like tuna fish. It was like a tuna fish sub.
Delectable.
It's like so dumb that it's like hilarious to me.
I love the I also love the one who wants to do their book reports on
oh yeah Jay Cutler.
I'll go teach
the TI 83 like just the calculator.
Yeah, he's got the glasses on. I'll go teach.
Yeah.
This is so funny, man.
Oh, dude, you know you're the GOAT when you're laughing at your own memes. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But
dude, no, they are though. They're so funny, dude.
Dude, you know who else?
In a league of their own. They really stand in a league of their own. Of just like you, just like it really is the ultimate like not normie because you just like you would never even engage with that if you weren't crazy.
Yeah.
Like you would.
Yeah.
There's nothing advantageous about like pretending to get it. I guess maybe if you were like you wanted to be seen as a bodybuilder, but you weren't. But
yeah,
beyond that, like there's
no social merit.
Like, this is like not my kind of humor.
Yeah, like you get your social credit score goes down if you're following my page. So you are not well like. There's some good dudes. There's a bunch of good pages out there, dude. One of my favorites is of course Schizo Lifter. They're great, but Unironic Ziz posting the stuff he posts is, dude, he's like a huge typo negative fan too, which is like super dope. And so he'll post like memes with like Peter Steele and like chest bra, and it's like two things you never would like never predict like to be together. But his stuff is like hilarious to me. And then also Limp Bizkit fan, his page is golden, dude.
I really love Northwest MCM Wholesale. Now he's Scroll Forever. He's really on the nail with hipster culture kind of shit. As far as OC goes, as far as like consistent OC, but it really is rare to mean again, just as someone who has a meme page, I definitely respect fucking daily OC, especially in the canon.
Yeah, I think once you get in the groove, it's like you can continue to be consistent with it, and you kind of had that momentum behind you to like, okay, I'll just make one again, and I'll make one a day. But if you like, I've gone like 3 days without posting before, and like getting back into it's like, oh man, like what am I gonna do? You know, like what should I post? And so it's like if you stay in it, it's easier. Like you have that momentum to keep moving you forward. But if you stop, then it's like, I mean, it's like anything else. Like if you quit going to the gym, you know, if you quit going to the gym, it's like that momentum is gone, and now like you're sore, your back hurts, and you're going to the gym after 2 weeks, and you're like, dude, I feel like crap, I can't lift heavy or whatever. And it's like, well, you're just gonna have to kind of push through that and not fall off the wagon next time.
Definitely.
But there's another page called like True Cult. It's like True
print posting.
Yeah.
I definitely follow that. I definitely steal from him as well.
One of my favorites was it's like a Breaking Bad one, and it's like the quote is like, but isn't that band Fash? And then it's Walter White, and he's like, damn it, pussy, like damn it, Jesse, just like listen to the like listen to the music or whatever, quit being a pussy or something like that. Like it's so funny.
Definitely love his and I mean definitely love anything most of the things on Catatonic Youth is another one that
dude there was a
gold gems from.
So have you seen that video on Catatonic Youth of the kids like they're talking about slam dancing back when it was called slam dancing, and they're like showing you like their moves and stuff?
I think so.
Well, that was like it's like a history of slam dancing.
Okay.
In their eyes, and this was like filmed way back in the day, and that was filmed in Houston, and some of those kids like used to go to shows in Houston. Okay. And I saw that recently, and I was like, dude, that's so funny. Like I saw those kids back in the day, and it's like they're on Catatonic Youth. Dude,
I mean, I think that's legendary if you make it to Catatonic Youth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hopefully one day they repost 10 scoops.
It's so funny. You could tell that they like if you're cringe like that, but have self-awareness, they're like, no.
Yeah, they
like
definitely. Yeah,
specifically curate it to be like, no, we only repost shit where we know, like, no, you're not being cringe on purpose. Like, you're only accidentally being
yeah.
cringe.
Which honestly, dude, I appreciate that because now dude, I loved when the internet was full of people who had no idea that they were being cringe. You know, they were just
Yeah.
they were being themselves, and then it became the new cringe is just ironic cringe, which isn't that good. You know, it's like everyone,
Totally.
you know, it's like it's not funny when it's not real.
Dude, and I'm so happy you brought that up. That brings up one of the last things I want to ask you about is I definitely think now with the advent of AI, especially the way it's being in, I think it's really important. Now I like AI and I'm not dogging AI, but I think it's really important that people moving forward be curators and purposefully curate content because they just an algorithm's never going to be able to nail that the way a person does, and the way like someone like you pulls from multiple different aesthetic and musical different kind of backgrounds to make that your own and unique mix of shit. So I love how you've curated a lot of the music stuff. You have good playlists on there. If anyone hasn't checked out the Iron Gains playlists on Spotify, I think they're awesome. Where do you find a lot of the stuff?
So honestly, a lot of it just comes from like Spotify surfing, more or less. There's like,
Are you on the Discover Weekly, or are you're actually looking through other playlists?
No, I'll scroll, and like if there's like a artist that I like or whatever, like I'll find a song and I'll be like, yo, this song's dope. And then I'll go to that artist and I'll look at like, you know, who they collab with. Also I'll look at like who Spotify recommends, you know, as like people that listen to them or whatever that thing is at the bottom, similar artists. And I'll scroll through that. But the Spotify algorithm itself, like, really kind of sucks. You know, when it's like, when you click on like Discover Weekly and it's like hyperpop, it's like you're just getting like Charlie XCX and like, you know, Sabrina Carpenter. Like you're getting like stuff like that.
Some good stuff for sure. Some like just like under 50K plays, gems like in that field. But other than that, yeah, I agree. It just doesn't understand vibes. It'll never understand. There's just certain things it'll never understand well, and that's what I think having a vibe like curating a vibe is important for.
Exactly. I think honestly, like organic surfing is like the best way to come across like really quality artists. And it used to be that way on the internet in general. Like now everything's so condensed to like, you know, 6 or 7 apps, as opposed to like back in the day, you used to just have to like lurk and like go down the rabbit hole and you would find these gems, and that's just something that doesn't really exist anymore because of algorithms.
I got so lazy with streaming. I mean, back in the day, I was such an uber nerd. I was on all the just private torrent trackers for music shit. I had everything was SoulSeek. I had like multiple iPods filled up. Like I was really on looking for music. And then once I switched to streaming, at first it was really fucking, I never went well beyond recently played because it just shows up in your face. Before I would really look for, and there were super nerds on these private torrent trackers where it was like they had every vinyl rip at blah, 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 like on these, and like, but dudes were dead serious about that shit to find it. And I definitely listened to a way bigger variety of music when I was doing SoulSeek and torrents for shit like that.
Yeah. Now what I do, because there's a lot of stuff that isn't on Spotify too, and so I'll just go to like those YouTube channels that post like demos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll just demo surf, you know, and I found some cool stuff that way too. I mean, dude, you can almost find like any demo on YouTube. It's kind of cool.
You think YouTube's got the best algorithm?
That's a good question. I think their algorithm isn't as evasive as other algorithms. So it's not like as like, I mean, it's definitely stealing your data, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as like as geared towards the mainstream as like a Spotify would be, you know,
Yeah.
because like for instance, I'm not getting like a Mr. Beast recommendation or anything like that.
Oh no, I mean the
it-
YouTube shit they suggest me is so niche, and for the most part so locked on. Some of the more niche shit it doesn't understand like how it relates. But I mean, when I go on YouTube, it's serving me Sam Hyde, it's serving me
Yeah.
geopolitics, schizo stuff. I mean, it's serving me like stuff where I'm like, oh, if I had nothing to do for a week, I could sit here and watch all this shit.
It's good for sure. But it falls into the same sort of trap as like, you know, the recently played on Spotify. Like if I watch, you know, like a deep dive on like, you know, Ruby Ridge or something like that, then it's just going to show me like, you know, nothing but
shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, well, that's cool, but you know, I want to know like another related story or something, you know, something else. It's like, you know, interesting, but or at least like adjacent to that. And so I mean, I guess to answer your question, yeah, YouTube is better than a lot of algorithms. But I still think it's like it's not as good as it used to be. Honestly, I feel like YouTube used to be much better. You could find stuff easier. You could go down rabbit holes easier. Now, if you look for something, it's like you just get like real slop, you know, like short slop.
Yeah, no, and you're totally right with that. And it was when the COVID shit happened, they fucking cracked down a lot of shit. There was a lot of interesting because I love a lot of fringe, just alternative health stuff, and they definitely fucking nuked a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Google's kind of useless now too. I think search engines in general are like so slopped out with just like AI and you know, reels. Like everyone's so focused on shorts and stuff. And not that I hate AI. I think I don't hate AI.
I like AI, and that's like when I do the Spotify shit, I try to work with it, like where I make sure if I really like something, I hit like, so it does learn. Like I know it is trying to learn to suggest me shit.
Exactly.
And even like when we're talking to Chat GPT or something, like I'm like the guy saying thank you and shit that they were complaining about, because they'll be like, oh hey Patrick, yeah, that would be really epic if you did that. Like, you know what I mean? I want it to, I try my best to get it, like, because I look at it as inevitable. I definitely think there's no putting the cat back in the bag with AI. So if we want to avoid technological holocaust, technological apocalypse, get your hands on it and just start training it right. But there's there's definitely no use in putting your fucking hands over here, burying your head in the sand with AI, because it's fucking everyone's fucking head first on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. And that's the thing too with ChatGPT and stuff. Like it's definitely useful. Like there's some esoteric stuff you could ask it, and it really will come up with like some legit answers. So, that's actually nice. As long, I mean, who knows how long that'll be the case? But,
yeah, we were thankful. We definitely got the Grok AI. That was the first AI we got to, or that was the easiest AI we got to be racist. The other ones we had to bully a little more.
Yeah. Do you remember when Twitter came out with that AI like years ago?
Oh no, not the old one.
It was like some chick, and it immediately, like within like 15 minutes of being online, like just became racist.
Yeah, it was immediately given like crime statistics and shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Same with I always tell people about the Starlink story, how the indigenous tribes in the Amazon got the free internet and they all immediately developed porn addictions.
Yeah. Like immediately just giving into like their like
they're like, well, they're just not primed to, like, they don't realize like us Americans are civilized. We have to face a barrage of attention grabbing fucking bombs every single day, so you have to hone your fucking attention span, and they were not ready for that war.
Yeah, we're desensitized to it.
But... All right, wrapping up, I cut you off on the final question, or on the last question that'll bring us to the final thing. I cut you off when you were talking about Crunch Fitness, because we started talking about AI and stuff. I could talk to you for hours. I hope we get to hang out one day. But
oh, dude, for sure. I'm definitely down.
Finish what you were talking about at Crunch Fitness. I asked you, are you still cycling? Because I think that's important. If there's any kids who are watching this, who are watching J-Dog, that say, oh, I want to look like these guys, to know some backstory about that, and then we'll get into your final plugs, like your affiliates, and we'll wrap it up.
Nice. Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm not cycling right now. I'm not on anything right now. I'm honestly, I'll probably when I'm older and get back into it, like in my 40s or whatever, then yeah, I'll probably start cycling. Right now, we're working on having kids, so that's just not the ideal thing to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, it's just better not to hop on anything. And
I'm assuming you mean you and a partner.
yeah, oh yeah,
Not a lifting buddy.
Me and the wife. Yeah. Me and my spotter. But which spotters are useless, by the way. Screw those guys. So yeah, we're working on having kids, and so I'm not on a cycle right now, but you know, eventually, after I pop out a couple kids, and instead of getting like a vasectomy or something lame, I'm just gonna, you know, super roid until my production's done and until I'm infertile and boom, you know.
Yeah, that'll be the midlife crisis. Now, when you did do that, do you have any advice for people? Were you getting blood work? Were you doing it off the street?
So the stuff that I was doing was definitely off the street, but I'm sure everybody says this. The guy who I was getting it from was like pretty meticulous with how he was, you know, making his bathtub research chemicals, and so they came out pretty good. And you know, I didn't get much like side effects from it. I think sometimes when the stuff's dirtier, you might get more side effects, or maybe I just didn't have the side effects because that's just genetics or whatever. But anyways, it was definitely, you know, some black market stuff, but it was good. It was real good. And I didn't get blood work while I was doing it. But at the same time, my doses were like super low. I didn't go above 250 a week. When I was taking testosterone, I didn't do over 250 a week. I literally was doing like 185 a week, 2 shots a week. And I did that with some D-ball, and that was probably like, and the D-ball, I think I did 15 every other day. It might have been every day. This was like back in 2016, so I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, both super low doses, and I felt great. I mean, I was getting great pumps. My mentality was great. My body, like, I felt strong. And so honestly, that was probably the best cycle I ever did. And that was just all low dose stuff, you know, and I wasn't trying to be like a monster or a beast or anything. So if you're trying to be like it depends on what your goal is. Like if you're trying to be like a freaking 300-pound mass monster, like you're probably going to have to, you know, shoot yourself up with like enough chemicals to, I don't know, destroy China or something. But when it comes to, you know, just like feeling good and like the therapeutic stuff and getting gains, like just like, you know, consistent gains, the lower doses were like perfect for me. The one thing I will say though is I tried Deca, and I was doing a low dose of Deca, and it didn't really do anything. And that's because I think Deca is one of those compounds where you kind of have to run it higher in order to really see the results. And I mean, my joints felt great, you know, but other than that, I didn't like get like insane mass from that or anything like that. But test and D-ball were great. And if you're young, like if you're under 25 or whatever, I definitely would say to build a decent base first. Like, you know, at least be hitting the gym for like 5 years prior before you decide to like hop on a cycle. Just because then, like, not only because, you know, it'd be kind of like a poser thing to just hop on a cycle right away, but because what happens if you aren't training and you don't condition your body and your joints and stuff, and you just immediately start roiding, what's going to happen is your muscles will get extremely strong. Sure, you'll get bigger, but your joints and your tendons and everything won't necessarily be able to compensate for that sort of load. And that's how you get injuries, you know, like that's how you tear stuff. And that's how you get like some messed up shoulder pain, like, you know, 10 years down the road or whatever. So I would say at least build a firm base before you decide to roid. And do obviously, try to be as safe as you can about it. But at the end of the day, dude, like roiding is pretty based. And even if you're not healthy, like you're going to get some gains. so I mean, you know, you're going to look jacked.
Yeah, I think that was very in alignment with what J-Dog said. So I know after doing the J-Dog video, I was like, holy fuck, at all these kids that were commenting on the shit. You know what I mean? He has like a whole school bus of kids that whose dad is not home, so they're watching J-Dog. So I'm
Dude,
like,
yeah.
so I'm like, please, let's give him like, please, like, let's at least give him a caveat with the steroid stuff. Let's try to be positive.
I
You
remember,
already
dude,
took
so
SpongeBob away from him. Sorry.
for some reason, speaking of YouTube algorithm, for some reason, like, they started recommending me J-Dog stuff. Like,
Okay.
this was back when he was getting like 300 to 500 views a video.
Yeah, that's I saw it.
And he wasn't doing like, I think he was fairly new to YouTube. Obviously, he had been doing the Hell's Headbanger stuff forever.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he was fairly new to YouTube. But he was posting every day, and every video was like 200 to 500 views. And I was like, oh, like, you know, like, it doesn't seem like anybody's watching this, but why is YouTube recommending it to me? And I would click on it, and it'd be like a title that said like something like, you know, Twink Mold does it again, instead of like Mold or something like that. Like Twink Mold wearing like pampy wampy wimpy shorts, like stuff like that.
Fucking sperm suckers are ruining metal, like
the best titles ever. And so I would click on it, and it'd be like I said, like 200 to 500 views, and he'd have like 100 something comments, and I'd be like, dude, like, what is going on? And I would read them, and it would just be everyone like either pissed off or agreeing, or like, you know, giving their take or whatever.
I didn't even look at it. Like when I did the video with him, it got way more views than I thought and comments, but like I didn't even realize that shit because I was still thinking about it from what you're talking about. I saw him when he was first doing it. I had no idea he had engagement like that. But I was like, dude, there are a lot of kids whose dad is not home that are watching J-Dog right now, and they are bummed that they can't watch SpongeBob anymore.
Yeah,
but they definitely.
I love when he was like, "Yeah, I never hugged my dad." I was like, dude, that's so based, like so manly.
I had a bunch of like gay questions. I was trying not to laugh when I was like, have you ever kissed a man? Like, cause I've been up to Hell's Headbangers before, and he's always like super like not trying to talk to anyone, and they have a shit ton of work going on. So I didn't think he was gonna like me. So I honestly thought it was gonna be more like a Eric Andre thing going into it. So I had all this like gay stuff written down, like questions about him being gay or whatever. And then when we were talking, I was like, oh no, I can't do that to him. He's cool as fuck. I didn't think we were gonna like relate, but I definitely was like, yeah, that's
yeah. I've honestly, like, I've been a fan of his channel just because, like, I don't know. I think it's funny, and he gives his opinion, and it's like one of those things like, yeah, you don't have to agree with it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's his opinion. Like, who cares? Like, let him have his opinion, you know? Yeah.
But even, and that's another thing that YouTube fucking, it's like a fucking, it's like mold, dude. If I click on one J-Dog video, it'll take over my whole algorithm. It's like Elsa Gate. It's like fucking J-Dog Gate, dude. It's like, it'll be my whole fucking algorithm if I click on a J-Dog video. So I have to be like, no, like, and I'll like read the title. It'll be like, Glenn Benton slays pussy ass twink, blah, blah, blah. And and I'm like sitting there like SpongeBob, like with sweat coming down my forehead. I'll be like, don't click it. Don't click it.
Yeah.
Take over the whole thing.
It's like so tempting, dude, to just watch every J-Dog video. Like the titles
just
like the whole get you.
Thing, but I am like, okay, let me click on it and find when he says it.
But
okay.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, the YouTube algorithm, like, yeah, it's like basically what you were saying too. It does the same thing to me. If I watch something for longer than 5 minutes, it's recommending me that like nonstop.
It only does it for certain things, though. There's certain things it totally does not do it for, but there's certain things it does. I don't know why.
Like
anyway,
World War II history.
Yeah.
It doesn't show me anything about that.
So to wrap up, I really appreciate the advice on the tasks on the cycling, especially for any young, impressionable children who might think you and J-Dog are really cool and funny. Let's wrap this up. You have some affiliates with Psychopharma and Sunday Mass. You plug them. Probably I'm going to call out bullshit on your taking 10 scoops of it, because I think the majority of that workout would be in the toilet, but I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah, I have the Psychopharma code, affiliate code, which is Iron Gains 20. And by the way, Psychopharma stuff is legit. Like, and I'm not just saying that because I have an affiliate code. Like, their pre-workout, Edge of Insanity or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's just I can only do like a quarter of a scoop. I can't do 10 scoops for sure. I'd have like a seizure. So I'll do that. I do that. Honestly, another brand that was super good was 5%, by the way. Their stuff used to be super dope. I haven't tried it in forever, but they were great. But anyway, Psychopharma, code Iron Gains 20. Sunday Mass, code Iron Gains for some dope drip. And then and they have some good quality clothes too. Their heavy tees are really cool. And then yeah, that's pretty much. And I guess 10 scoops and Iron Gains. Listen to both of those.
And of course, follow Dark Iron Gains on Instagram, and it's Dark Iron Gains on YouTube.
Yes.
And
DIG on YouTube.
Also Iron Gains Talks.
Yes. Iron Gains Talks. I stole that from Black Pigeon Speaks.
Dude, Arthur, I could talk to you for hours. I hope we get to hang out one day. I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me, man. It was
You
awesome.
are a Sigma stud.
Sigma male meetup. Soon Sigma male meetup with us and Cryptic Void.
Do it. All right. Let me drop this.